Oh, there's one, there's more.
I didn't turn it on.
Okay.
It's on now. You see where it says record in the
Okay,
corner?
yeah.
We're here in the Black Hills region. We're here at the what is known as Devil's Tower, and the Kiowa people call it Tso-I, meaning rock tree. I'm here to tell a story. Wow. See that?
She split and fell.
Just about 50 feet to the west of here is a tree that split in half just a moment ago. I don't know what that means, but I guess the wind here is kind of high, and these trees here are kind of thin. They didn't have a prescribed burn here last year, so this tree here took this moment to break in half. We'll show that a little bit later. But getting back to the history of the Kiowa people is either written or it is part of oral tradition, and part of that oral tradition has to do with mythology of the Kiowa Tribe regarding Devil's Tower, which is we call Tso-I. Has to do with tradition. And one tradition that the Kiowa people have regarding the North Homeland, which is this area, the Black Hills, which is 100 miles about southeast of here, and Bear Butte is to the east of here, and Bighorn Mountains is way to the west of here. Kiowas used to roam in this area. This is ancient homeland. And to go along with the history of this area, also there are names, traditional names that came from this area. This is how we keep ties with different areas. Kiowas have been removed from this area before the 18th century, the turn of the 19th century, around 1800. And we were removed from this area through warfare. And but we still remember this area as being an ancient homeland and sacred homeland for the Kiowa people because of our traditional names that came from this area. One of these names is Tso-I-E. Tso-I-E was a character or a person in Kiowa history that is associated with this tower here. The story goes is that several young Kiowa girls were out playing, and in the hills around where this valley is. And as far as I know, that's where the story begins. And one of these girls began, something was wrong with her, and she began turning into an animal. She started to go down on all her 4 limbs, and her body started to be covered with hair, and her shape and form began to change into that of a bear. And so these other girls that were playing with her, there were 7 of them, became afraid, and they began running. And the story is that they went to a rock. The rock had told them to climb on top, and it will save them. So these 7 girls jumped on the rock, and this rock began to rise up out of the ground and grow. And the bear was chasing them, and it had come to where they were, and but before it could get to the girls, the rock had grew out of its reach. To try and get at the girls, the bear lunged against the rock, trying to get its claws on the edge of the rock to pull itself up. But instead of doing that, it spurred the sides of the rock there, and you can see the furrows in the tower where it left the marks of the bear claws. And then the bear started to, it knew it couldn't get to the girls, so it started to push against the rock. And the bear is pretty heavy, so the rock started to lean over. And the girls were kind of afraid that the tower would fall down with them on it. So they jumped down off the rock, and then they began running again. And this time they came to a tree, and they told the tree told them to climb on top of me, and I will save you from the bear. So the girls climbed up on a tree, up to the very most top of the tree, but the bear came to the tree and began also to climb the tree. And then the tree started to grow out of the ground, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and finally it was just out of sight. It grew up all the way up into the sky. And today we see the 7 sisters in the sky, and we call them the 7 sisters constellation, and people know it today as the Pleiades. And also the bear was born along. And so that female bear that turned into a bear and chased the 7 sisters was called Tso-I-E, and that name was passed down to the present person that has that name today. Her name is Marla Newberry. She received that name from her great grandmother. Her name was Lula Lone Bear, and I'm not sure who Lula Lone Bear received that name from, but that name Tso-I-E came down the family, the Lone Bear descendants, to one of our own descendants today. So that name is still being carried on, and it's still being carried by one of the Lone Bear descendants. So that is a family interest that we have in the history of this tower. And the Kiowas have a lot of other stories that have to do with the creation or the early known existence of a lot of these landmarks here in the Black Hills and surrounding areas. And this is only one of them. So that's all I have to say. I should have wrote a script. I'm going to press this date button.